It's a great day for hockey here in Blaine, Minnesota. My name is Eric Zamora, providing the play-by-play of this evening's contest of the 2023 North American Female Elite Showcase. And we are in particular in the 2009 birth year, or the U14 age division, on Rink 5, home of the Bethel University Royals. In the black jerseys are the visiting team WestCan, who come in with a record of 3-0-0. In white, the home squad, the Manitoba All-Stars, with a record of 2-1-0. This is kicked over to McKay, and away we go. McKay is sent wide, peels back, and looks to feed the point. No, centers it, and it will be held in. Thrown out front, and a stick save made by the netminder, Emma Douglas. A sharp angle centering through the crease and out. The other end, a tic-tac-toe passing play, but kept in at the point as they're unable to find the finishing touch. The Manitoba All-Stars go with a starting lineup of Attica Sobering and Peyton Stansel. On defense, wings Casey O'Brien and Maddie McKay. Centering is Ava Rubinick and Danica Averill. In between the pipes, Team WestCan trying to find Lily Murphy in the slot. They've already made their first change just a minute into action, but when we have a break in the action, we'll go ahead and bring for you what their starting lineup was. Tracking this down, looking over her shoulder, and now looking to make a move is McNichol. Esposito wastes no time trying to center for Olsen. Brought in, snapping the shot, netminder made the stop and covers up, as that was Adriana Pepe with the shot that took place minute 21 into the first period. Team WestCan goes with Emma Douglas. In between the pipes, defensively, Mackenzie Levesque and Mercedes Dunbar. The starting D pairing with Jana Matenko and Jocelyn Bodnar, being centered by Abigail Lee. One of the things that I was impressed with the Team WestCan when taking a look at their numbers, as this is backhanded out of the zone, is that they come in with a record of 3-0, but they've got depth. Sometimes you'll see that, and you'll see one player or one pairing where they've just got an absurd amount of points, but nobody on the squad through those 3 victories that they had has more than 3 goals or 3 points in the Team WestCan. And it's because you're going to have a lot of success when you only give up 3 goals through the first 3 games. There's a backhanded pass, and it sets up O'Brien wide. O'Brien taking the feed from McKay. Team WestCan looking to counter. Poking that deep and giving pursuit was Jana Matenko. Matenko will tie up her adversary. Puck bounces around below the goal line. Team WestCan trying to send it out front. Broken up, hustling back, and keeping that in play was Dunbar. Dunbar skates up to it, finds it, and feeds ahead for Matenko. Snapping a shot was Lee. That gets blocked and is off the mark. O'Brien had that one kick off of her skates. Down low, the netminder sticks it and leaves it for Wilson, Danica Wilson, with a goal already in the tournament. They'll get this ahead for McKay. Maddie McKay waits and had her play slowed down, but keeps it alive when it looked like it was going by the wayside. She was able to stay with it. Wilson circles the wagon, flips it ahead, and played up for Manila. Good conversation there as Sobering talked it out with Rubinick. Ahead for Rubinick. Manila now with it. kept to the side as Lily Murphy edges her out. 4 minutes gone by in a scoreless first period. Played the length of the ice, and it will be icing. The Manitoba All-Stars coming with a record of 2-1-0. They defeated the British Columbia Caps 5-0, and Illinois Select 7-2. They fell to the Wade Warriors by a score of 9-1. Team WestCan perfect on the tournament. On Thursday night over on Rink 1 at 6:15, they knocked off Team Saskatchewan 4-2. They beat the North Star Elite 6-0, and West Illinois Selects 4-1 earlier this afternoon. That was at 2:45. There's a backhanded effort kicked out by the netminder. Nice job with the rebound control there by Averill. Centering pass. Now leading the charge, coming up with speed and then looking for a centering pass was McKay. McKay getting a little of the lumber from Levesque. Snaps a shot, blockered away. Punched out by Douglas. Below the goal line, peeling that back, looking for a centering pass, and got to her backhand, but able to bring it to the forehand. The effort by Piper Holbrook doesn't get through, and Team WestCan will take the icing. When we take a look at the standings of the 2009 division, Team WestCan and Wade Warriors each come in with a perfect 3-0 record. But actually, the Wade Warriors game should, if not have already completed, just be wrapping up. In fact, just as I say that, we hit refresh, and they did indeed pick up a victory. So they finished pool play 4-0, just onside, carving through. Big left pad save by the netminder, who got low in a hurry to kick that one out. They'll break out. Giving chase was Lee. Lee tangles up, and upended is Danica Wilson. Kept alive, pinballs around, and fighting it off as a netminder. The puck thrown out, but the whistle had already blown. Wade Warriors defeat Team Saskatchewan by a final score of 3-0. That means the Wade Warriors, with a record of 4-0-0, will be in the championship tomorrow. Cutting in is Wilson on the backhand and scores! And my mistake, Maddie McKay. The left-handed shot goes forehand, backhand, and puts Manitoba on top early. 6 minutes and 26 seconds. The fifth shot on goal for Manitoba. And they draw first blood. Was going to say that as we take a look at the standings, Wade finishes atop with a perfect record of 4-0, could be caught or tied by this Team WestCan in the slot. That's broken up. Now looking to get ahead and counter Team WestCan. Spun out was Lily Murphy. They'll find a pass. There's a collision in the slot, fought off by the netminder, who pokes that to the side. Sienna Esposito. Rubinek picks up the lone assist on the tally. This will be held in by Allen. They'll play it down low. Looking to move it is Peyton Stansel. McNichol taps at it, keeps it alive at least for a moment. Quinn Toll looks over her shoulder, gives chase. But the puck too far. And we have a whistle for icing. Here's what we know. Illinois Selects will finish as the 6th seed. North Star Elite, with an odd number of teams, is the odd man out without a dancing partner tomorrow. Their tournament has come to an end. Both teams finish 0-4. There's a big collision. Leading there was Attica Sobering. And the officials say play on. So North Star Elite finishes 7. Illinois Selects finish 6. And Team Saskatchewan finishes 5. So each of these teams will finish in the top 4, but will they be playing at 10:45 for 3rd place or at 8:30 tomorrow for the championship? Wade Warriors have already punched their ticket. And there is a scenario for each of the Manitoba All-Stars, Team WestCan, or the BC Capitals to all join them in that championship matchup. Team WestCan needs a tie or a victory. The Manitoba All-Stars would need a victory here and to win the tiebreakers. There's an offside call at 11:16 left to go in the first. Face-off comes outside Team WestCan's blue line. Manitoba trying desperately to keep that alive. If you're curious exactly where Team WestCan comes from, the obvious answer is Western Canada, but they're all over the province of Alberta, although they do have one player who hails from Ontario. Kicked at by Dunbar to make sure that her adversary didn't come in all alone. That's Ava Rubinek. Banked up ahead. They get out of the zone. Brought right back in. Here's McKay on the backhand. Fights for the loose puck. And helped out by Dunbar is the netminder Douglas. They'll freeze the puck with 10:33 left to go in period number 1. A reminder that this format, there is no resurfacing between periods 1 and 2. We'll just step away from the mic for a quick 60 seconds. We'll keep the broadcast rolling. So it's between periods 2 and 3 that we'll have a much longer break. Esposito floats that deep. It's tipped, so they'll wave off icing. Mott's battling in the corner with Stansel. Leading the chase is O'Brien. O'Brien has McKay in the middle. Lifts a backhand effort. And that was not a bad look for Manitoba as they try to extend their lead. Snapping a shot right into the breadbasket of Douglas. And she holds on for dear life and freezes that with 9:45 left to go in our opening frame. So we can start to pencil in some of these. As I mentioned, Illinois Selects finish as the 6th seed, and they will take on Team Saskatchewan. A tough angle shot by Team WestCan, handled cleanly by Averill. Into the corner it goes. A little bit of a tie-up, but coming away with it Pepe tries to get a shot through, broken up beautifully by Sophia Contant. Played up, not out. Pepe cycles it down low. Looked like for a moment Walker wanted to step up. She thought better of it. Last thing she wanted to do was pinch there and give up an opportunity the other way. Walker sets up Pepe, who snaps a shot just off. Walker was starting to creep down low, opening herself up as an option. But when her teammate elects to go behind the cage with it, she retreats back to play defensively. O'Brien, one hand on the stick, corrals around the cage, gets tangled up, and feeds that back for Rubinek. Walker inside through a ton of traffic, and O'Brien may have inadvertently knocked that one away with her shin pad. Didn't mean to block it. Ends up being the result. This will be played down the length of the ice. 7:53 left to go in the first. And the lone goal we have 6 minutes and 26 seconds into the contest. Maddie McKay on the rush, scoring from Ava Rubinek. It's the difference in this one. A rugby scrum ensues on the northwest corner. Poking up, kept in. And now chopped out. Ahead for Bodner. Lee taps that one to herself. Centering pass, going right down Broadway. Lee tries to follow up the effort of Matinko. Kept in just barely. Nice job there by Dunbar. Remember, that puck can go over the blue line into neutral ice, but as long as some of it is on or directly above that blue line, then that play is still alive. Ringing around the boards is Rubinek. Bodnar partially broken up by McKay, but still able to make the play. Chornley goes backwards to go forwards as she makes the pass. Pepe immediately pressured by Dunbar. She's done her job. She's off to the bench. 6:36 left to go in the first period. Team WestCan trailing Manitoba All-Stars, and I imagine, taking a look at their scores, winning 4-2, 6-0, and 4-1. They're not used to trailing too often in this tournament. This may be the lone time it has happened. Bodies starting to pile up. The official comes over with a couple of choice words to make sure it doesn't get any more out of hand. But it doesn't look like there's going to be anything called here, and I think that's good, setting the tone. Manitoba now leads 7-6 on the shots on goal department. At the dot will be Lily Murphy. That one doesn't get through, blocked and out of play. So just a couple of seconds tick off the clock. And we'll go back and do it again. Once again, the draw is to Averill's blocker side, or her right. There's a shot through traffic, fought off by the chest of Averill. And then O'Brien slams it home, doesn't just get it out. This is a breakout pass. Coming in with speed. And denied was Maddie McKay. O'Brien, I'm not sure how much of that was desperation as it's dumped in and they need to touch up, or if she read that angle and said, I know exactly where McKay's going to be, and hit her not in stride, but one that she was able to skate onto. O'Brien, meanwhile, cutting by Douglas, and Douglas with a stick lift that I think had more to do with setting the tone and sending a message rather than expecting 55 to get a shot off there. Skating onto this one is Tegan Walker. Walker cuts, feeds it ahead for O'Brien, who pulls it back. That one finally does get out to neutral ice. And McKay Backhands it ahead. She'll head off for a change. Pepe fires the shot. Blocker save made as Douglas fought that one off. Sometimes those can be tricky. She is sliding to her right and punches to the left, and it could have left a disastrous rebound, but Douglas controls it nicely. Brewer dumps in and looks for where she wants to set up. Claire Brewer now playing on the right side, and they'll peel that back. Here's Pepe, waits patiently as Rubinek touches up. Good pace to this one as Rubinek has that one stripped away by Quinn Toll. Toll easy to spot. I believe she's the only player on the team with a red helmet. Thrown towards the net, and the netminder covers up. That's Emma Douglas with the black and red goalie helmet, which is easy to differentiate between her and Jenna Ring with a white cage. 4:23 as the puck is dropped. Trying to peel that off the backboards is Mackenzie Levesque. They floated ahead, and Lee gets a piece of it, but can't maintain possession. By the time she gets back, with her is Sobering. Attica Sobering helps break up that play. Here's Chornley. She comes around the bend, and it feeds McKay. McKay tries to get around Dunbar. Dunbar uses everything, both the stick and the skates, to slow down the goal scorer for Manitoba. Should point out that McKay there with her third goal of the tournament. And that is also her 6th point, both of those. Second on the team behind O'Brien with a stat line of 6 and 1 for 7. Rubinek picking up her second apple. Both teams making a lot of changes there, so whoever came away with that had an opportunity at some open real estate. Here's Murphy, slowed down, pestered, but is able to make the handoff for Motts. Mila Motts kept wide, backhanded, kept in, as that's Allen who keeps the play alive. Feeds it down low for Esposito. Breaking out is Pepe. She slips around. Pepe fires, and a blocker save made by the netminder. May have gotten a piece of it with the shaft of her stick as well. 2:44 left to go in the first. 1-0. Manitoba on top. Esposito is hounded, but despite going in all alone, still able to get a shot off, although not on target. This will be covered up by Danica Averill. Excuse me. 2.5 left to go in period number 1. Team WestCan comes in with a plus 11. 14 goals for, just 3 goals against, and that could end up being a huge factor for them if we were to have a 3-way tie. They'd love to not have that come in to play at all and just come away with a perfect pool record. Brewer plays it deep, then shrugs off Rubinek. Up for O'Brien. Tapping at it was Contant. She wasn't able to keep it in. Looked like Lee was going to back her up and do so. Rubinek fires one on, and the goaltender elects to hold on. There weren't any white jerseys in the area, but she wanted to slow things down, and she will surrender the defensive zone restart to do that. Meanwhile, the Manitoba All-Stars come in with a +2, 13 goals for, 11 goals against. Coming out with speed is Lee. Lee feeds that ahead to Matenko. Lee backing up, finds Dunbar. Dunbar with a blast. Blocker save, and then trying to put home the rebound on the backhand was Matenko. Team WestCan applying some pressure as of late, backhanded by Dunbar. And Lee battling Wilson. Fed below the goal line, throwing it out front, and they had an opportunity at it. Abigail Lee pokes at it on the backhand, unable to get that to go. We talk about the goal differential for these two squads, +11, +2 for the BC Capitals. They sit at +9. Allen had that one fought off of her by O'Brien. O'Brien still hounding. Nice move there by McKay. McKay waits, fires, rising shot. Save made, and then O'Brien tried to put it home on the backhand. It pops up, still loose. And it just kept pinballing off of bodies. 20 seconds left to go in the period. They'll feed this ahead. Finding Esposito, firing a shot. The netminder made the stop, and then it went up and into the netting. Lily Murphy set that play up, and it looked like she may have had a primary assist for her efforts as Esposito let one go. And that was fought off by the netminder. Don't always need to make that highlight stopping save where you immediately hold on to it. Sometimes just deflecting it's enough. Here's Manila. Manila cross the line with Pepe. 3 seconds left in the period. They won't get another shot off. And the frame comes to an end with a 1-0 lead for Manitoba. We'll step away from the mic for 60 seconds and we'll be back. You're watching the 2023 North American Female Elite Showcase right here on Youth Hockey Hub. Welcome back to the 2023 North American Female Elite Showcase presented by Youth Hockey Hub. My name is Eric Zamora, bringing the play-by-play of tonight's matchup. Tom Ritchie, our engineer, producer, and our camera operator. Not much of a recap to give you. Scoring for the Manitoba All-Stars on a partial break was Maddie McKay from Ava Rubinik at 6:26 of period number 1. And then the penalty summary. It's been clean. Nothing to report on that end either. So we'll switch ends. The Manitoba squad in the white jerseys with navy shoulders, navy numerals outlined in red navy names, and they skate from left to right. Navy blue breezers with the red stripes, a little bit of white trim up the sides, and then white socks, navy and red stripes. O'Brien rips a shot that leaves a rebound, and the netminder, I'm not sure if she's just trying to adjust her equipment for a moment. Here's O'Brien into her breadbasket, and holding on once again is Averill. I think she's having a conversation with the officials here, but good to see that she's staying put. Would have thought that after that first exchange, there was a possibility that maybe she was going to need to come out or at least get a breather. But she seems to be set as she sweeps away some of the shavings in her crease. Obviously, a little bit different situation here in the second than the first and the third because they're skating on a surface that has not been resurfaced. Levesque cuts around the edge and then drops off for Motts. Stepping up is Murphy, but this is going to be stripped away. In comes Chornley. Chornley fires, and great patience shown there. A collision, and we're going to have a penalty upcoming. Just 56 seconds expired in period number 2, and good to see Chornley get up, and seems to be no worse for the wear. The guilty party is going to be Mackenzie Levesque. I believe that was a tripping call. So Mackenzie Levesque to the sin bin. And Team WestCan will waste no time controlling the face-off and playing it down the length of the ice. Pepe was zigging, and her teammate Peyton Stansel thought she was zagging, so a little bit of a miscue, but they're able to make it work. Back for Pepe. Adriana Pepe is a forward, but they'll go with a 4-forward setup on the power play. Snapping a shot, but off the mark. Brought right back in. And this is going to be Shea Warnick helping set things up. Some jousting for space out front. Great handoff. Warnick fires the shot. Netminder holds on. And then some separation between the two squads. Some words, some after the whistle extracurricular activity. And at the last moment, WestCan realized they had 5 out there that are shorthanded. Sobering feeds it and gets it right back. Here's Sobering. That shot doesn't get through. Bounces around, and not missing by much was Vienna Manila. Down low, they have a player at the back door. McKay is denied by Douglas, who slid over and just occupied space. 30 seconds left on the Levesque penalty. They'll hand it off. Here's McKay. Fed from Wilson. McKay gets it back, tries to go short side up high. Tracked down by Rubinek, and she'll reset the table. Floated down by WestCan. 7 seconds left on the power play opportunity. Looks like it's going to go by the wayside. O'Brien calling for it. It's deflected there by Warnick. Out of the box, and Team WestCan will skate 5-on-5 once again. Little bit of a slow delay there as she came out of the box and got onto the ice well before her replacement did, but it didn't end up hurting Team WestCan. Brought in by Allen. Centering pass, and did find Esposito, but Esposito well wide of the cage and not able to pull back and redirect it on target. Manitoba has a player ahead. They try to get it up for O'Brien. It was deflected, so O'Brien now try to center. First effort is swatted away. There's the second, and it's a shot put on by Warnick, fought off by Douglas. Early on in the game, felt like it was Averill that was really coming up with the big stops, but Douglas, well, it certainly had more to face, but some high scoring opportunities as of late here in the opening 4-ish minutes of the second period. And she's had to be a big part of it, especially with the power play that went the way of, at least on the call, went the way of Manitoba, but it was Team WestCan killing it off. Shot blocked. O'Brien gives chase. She bodies Brewer, and Brewer takes exception. Those two with a little pushing back and forth. Alix Bluin gives pursuit. Bluin now out front. And it's swept away from her. O'Brien crashing down, actually ends up falling down, but skated into the offensive third like a bull in a china shop, just looking to wreck whoever would come in her way. There's a rising shot, and you could see the decision there by Danica Averill. She started to reach for it with her glove and thought, I better not. That's well off the mark. It's not going to come down below the crossbar, as she covers up here, and she thought, but if I reach at it and I hit it, I could give up a rebound straight in front of me. I could give one off at a loose angle, and all of a sudden I'm in the middle. I'm giving up both sides. Also, you could have that be one of those unfortunate ones that's going wide, or in this case high. She touches it and brings it down. So a good decision that she started to put the glove up. Meanwhile, Manitoba with too many players, but it's not a penalty to start a hockey restart. That's the official's job to make sure, hey, you got the right people out there. And they spotted that ahead of time. It's one of those odd ones where if you start with a player too many and the officials don't notice it, you're actually not supposed to be penalized for it. There's a shot on, and the netminder came up with a stop and then holds on with the glove right at the goal line. 14-17 left to go in our middle stanza. And a big stop there by Douglas, not only to make the initial save, but have the wherewithal, figure out where that loose puck was, and get there before a Manitoba player could tap that one home. Firing a shot, netminder makes the stop, uses the catcher to pin it there against her chest. The save wasn't the impressive part there. It was giving up no rebound. And then as soon as she had it in her control, that's when she went down, because at that point she had started to encroach into the butterfly and wanted to make sure she held on to that. O'Brien wastes no time, spins and fires. That pinball's off of players. Kept in the zone. And now an opportunity fed ahead, as Bluin was the intended target, but couldn't get that ahead from Sophie Carter. Snapping a shot and just missing was Pepe. That was on the near side. A glove stop, fumbled, but away from harm's way. A collision there, inadvertent, as Sobering was stepping up. She'll now get back to the right point. Sobering fought off by Bluin, who gave her a little something extra there just cause. Toll was dispossessed by Wilson. WestCan feeds it ahead. Bluin battling Wilson. McKay now leads the charge. Tries to make a handoff to Wilson. Stripped of it. And a long pass ahead. Here's Matenko. Matenko denied by Walker, as that effort was well off the mark. Lee with a wraparound attempt, can't get that to go. Looking to break out the other way is O'Brien. O'Brien chips it around Brewer, then tries a toe drag, but has her pocket picked clean. Matenko was fed, but didn't realize it was headed her way. Walker feeds that over. Got that to Parker. And when you don't have something, don't give something. That's a good decision there. It's not a sexy play, but it keeps the play going forward. Knockdown out front. Last thing you want to do is make a turnover at neutral ice. And sometimes the safest and the best play is just get it in deep and then rely on your teammates to help you go after it. A collision just outside Manitoba's blue line, leads to a rush, and the netminder elevates herself and is tall to the task, literally, as she catches that one up against her body and holds on with 11:43 left to go in period number 2. As I mentioned, the Wade Warriors, sitting with a 4-0 record. They will be in the championship game tomorrow, which will take place back here on Rink 5 at 8:30. Who will be their opponent? Stripped away, they'll feed it down low and looking for the give and go. The give was there, the go was not. Broken up nicely by Team WestCan. Motts spins and felt pressure coming, wasn't sure who it was. It was actually a friendly face in Levesque, but you don't want to take that risk, and so she gets rid of it. They'll play it behind their own net off the Raising Cane's dasher board, located directly behind Averill. We're 49 seconds away from the halfway point of regulation. Backhanded around the bend. Now ahead giving chase is Rubiking, and that wasn't an easy play, as the referee was there, but still able to exit the zone and make sure it didn't hit off of the stripes. This one's popped up. Toll, run into by Wilson. Now for McKay. McKay on the backhand, peels it to the forehand. Rubiking fires a shot, kicked out barely by the netminder. Great setup as McKay set the table, and it looked like we were going to have a finish there. We've reached the second half of regulation. Trying a toe drag was McKay. She had that fought off of her. Here's Wilson. Wilson gets tripped up, and it's inadvertent. And so the officials say play on. Now here's Toll. Toll comes in, rises a shot. We're going to have a penalty, and slashing will be the call. And the Manitoba All-Stars not happy about it. They thought that there were two potential chances there for a penalty. The trip, I will admit, I think the trip was inadvertent. The two players just kind of skated into each other. The questionable one was, were there too many players on the ice? But at this level, there's a lot of leniency there, and it's not necessarily are there 6 out there, but it's who touches the puck. If it's one of the players involved in the exchange. So going the other way, now it is Team WestCan with the man advantage. This will be played down and played over for Claire Brewer. So 10:30 of the second period, and slashing is the call. That goes against Danica Wilson. This is the first power play opportunity for Team WestCan. Sent the length of the ice and handled by Douglas. Long pass ahead. Broken up by Sobering. Sent back in, but Team WestCan needs to touch up. And one of the things that doesn't help them out here is the board's tall enough where they really need the use of that door, and the door is in the offensive zone, so it can make changing and staying on side difficult. O'Brien plays it around Levesque and then chases after it herself. Fights off the pressure from Dunbar. Sobering clangs it off of the half wall. 20 seconds left on the penalty to Wilson. Glove down by Motts. She'll wait. Is pressured from Walker and stays with it. Finds Levesque. Closing seconds of the power play. Levesque to Esposito. In tight. And getting a touch on it was Motts. Didn't intend to push that as close to the netminder as she ended up doing. And we skate 5-on-5 once again with 7:27 left to go here in the second. .802 local time here in Minnesota in the central time zone. I know a lot of our viewers, as that snapped right on by Toll, kicking off of a player. Number of people may be watching from different time zones. We appreciate you tuning in on Youth Hockey Hub. We actually got the game to start a little bit early as that's thrown on towards the crease and held on to. We got to start the game a little bit early because it's a game that had won. The game before was a 10-1 differential. So we had a lot of running time. That was a victory by the BC Capitals over North Star Elite. The other thing that helped out is both these teams are Canadian. We didn't need the playing of the Star Spangled Banner, just Canada. Centering pass, and good defense shown there as Team WestCan able to get a puck into the area right outside of the crease, not able to put one home. If you're unfamiliar with Canadian geography, the two teams, WestCan, primarily out of Alberta. Mentioned they have one player from Ontario. That's the second most western province of the provinces in Canada that touch the Canadian-US border. British Columbia being the furthest west. That's the one that you think of, such as cities like Vancouver. Diving to make that play. A nice job there by Sobering. Then Alberta, home of Edmonton and Calgary. Saskatchewan as we move east, and then north and northwest of us here in Minnesota is Manitoba, Winnipeg being the big city that people think of, especially if you're a hockey fan. Pulled off the goal line. Tangled up there was Rubinek, but I think that's a good no call. She was kind of falling before anyone made contact with her. Rubinek throws one towards the net, and Dunbar defends it well. Sent out front right into the glove of the netminder, and then taking exception as she felt that O'Brien gave her a love tap there with her in full possession of the puck. Kicks out to Parker. That one deflects off of Lee. Lee doing a nice job of blocking it and getting it out of the zone. She just didn't realize exactly where it had gone to and might have had an opportunity to put something together. There's a glove. No, excuse me. The way she closed her glove, I thought it was in. Maybe it actually deflected off of it, but then hits the netting and out of play. Played up the line, held in for a moment, and now Pepe looking to break out. She skates it over herself from left to right, fires, but misses the mark. Pepe gets it ahead for Chornley. Chornley misses on the first attempt to get it deep. Feeds Wilson. Wilson throws it right on, and it's a bouncing puck that nearly took a fortuitous bounce from Manitoba. Team WestCan makes the stop nonetheless, with Douglas holding on. She'll surrender a restart here with 4 minutes and 20 seconds left in the second. Gobbled up and then backhanded out of the zone by Motts. Esposito gives chase. Tapped at. Bounces off of the body of Stansel. They fire it over to O'Brien. Wastes no time. Catch and release. And again, Douglas able to make the save. A nice job of sealing the goaltender's left post. 3:47 left to go in the period. 1-0 the score. Team WestCan would love to get this thing knotted up heading into the intermission. Manitoba All-Stars say the phrase is 2-goal lead is the worst in hockey, but they'd love to have that heading into the intermission. With it is Content. It's turned over. Here's O'Brien. O'Brien cuts in on the backhand and fires. Sometimes those ones are hard to get to move, and hers actually went too far on the opposite end. 26-10 shots on goal favoring Manitoba. I don't know how much I trust that. That's saying that WestCan has been outshot 13-2 in this second period. I think the tables are tilted in Manitoba's direction. Not that much, but again, that could be a variety of shots that were near target but off target and blocked as well. There's a shot taken by Rubinek. Didn't miss by much. Now here's Team WestCan with a potential 2-on-1, although Pepe gets back in and made it a more of a 3-on-2 with Levesque joining the rush. 2:32 left to go in the second. No score here in the second period, which means the 1-0 lead that the Manitoba All-Stars went into this middle stanza with still remains. Pepe checks over her six, checks over her shoulders a couple of times, and then tries to find Rubinek. Instead finds Dunbar, and Dunbar from right at the red line dumps it in deep. D-to-D pass, making that Allen from McNichol. And the netminder will just corral that puck into herself with her stick and covers up with 1:57 to play. Firing the shot, Allen couldn't get that through. Glove save made on Lee with 1:50 left to play. So not a lot of time ticking off on that last restart. And we'll get right back at it here. Into the corner goes Bodner. Lee tried to pull it out front. Intended target there was Matenko. From the point, creeping up a little bit, was McNichol. 85 seconds left in the second. McNichol taps that deep. Matenko sends it out front. Backhand effort by Bednar. McNichol opened herself up, and it was stripped away. It's turned over. Allen keeps it alive for a moment. Now it's a potential 3-on-1. Coming ahead is McKay. McKay waits, feeds to O'Brien, tries to pass it over, and a big stop made on that far side effort. Once again, Douglas comes up huge. McKay fed it over to O'Brien. O'Brien handed off to Chornley, but by that point, the netminder had slid all the way over to the right, had sealed it, and there was really no angle. It probably would have needed to go back to McKay to find something there. Stancil keeps it alive for Manitoba. Helping out is Warnick. Dug out on her backhand, and then advancing in it on her forehand was Manila. In tight, Pepe fought off by the netminder. 30 seconds left to go. Pinned along the boards. This allows Brewer to get it up and out. Manitoba needs to touch up. With it is Content for Motts. Misses on the exchange. Icing is the call with 11.3 ticks remaining in the second. Draw will come to the glove side of Emma Douglas. Firing a shot on was Sobering. O'Brien sends it into the slot and had McKay there for a moment. They got just enough on it and then sent down the length of the ice. The horn sounds. No score in the second period. So we remain with the Manitoba All-Stars on top by a score of 1-0. Each team takes one penalty in the second period, and each team is unable to convert. The Manitoba All-Stars outshoot Team WestCan 15-5 in the middle frame for a two-period total of 28-13, but it's just a 1-0 game. WestCan came in with a perfect record, and that is potentially in jeopardy here. We'll take a timeout. We'll be back with the third period of this 2009 matchup of the 2023 North American Female Elite Showcase right here on Youth Hockey Hub. Welcome back in the third period, just about to get underway. 20 minutes up on the board. And it's as tight as it gets. The Manitoba All-Stars leading Team WestCan in the 2009 U14 division of the 2023 North American Female Elite Showcase. Deep in their own zone, Manitoba tips it out, and Team WestCan applying the pressure. 28-13 shots on goal favoring Manitoba. But as we all know in hockey, the game can turn on a single shot. Held onto there by the goaltender. Averill. Unfortunately, the Youth Hockey Hub does a fantastic job of putting up the stats from the prior games, and you can take a look at all the skaters. Unfortunately, they don't differentiate between the goaltenders, so I don't have goals against save percentage, that type of thing. But obviously, the Team WestCan, when you have given up just 4 goals in 4 games, means that both of your goaltenders are playing outstanding. There's a handoff or an attempt at a handoff. Big drive! And Averill holds on. Wearing an unusual numeral for a goaltender, but not unheard of. Sometimes you'll see goaltenders wearing the bigger numbers that typically goalies wearing 1, and then in the 30s, 2 through 29, usually worn by players, and then as you advance above the youth, high school, even collegiate ranks, then in the pros, you tend to see some more of those numbers north of 40 and beyond. Lee had that stripped by Rubinik. Although honestly, I feel like you see the higher numbers more in youth than you do at the high school and collegiate ranks. There's an exchange at neutral ice. Murphy eventually comes away with it. Kicks around. And now grabbed by Sobering. Sobering feeds that ahead. Levesque with a nice stop there. Wasting no time. Playing a game of hot potato there was Wilson as she taps that down the length of the ice, but it will be icing with 2 minutes and 18 seconds gone by here in period number 3. Douglas at the other end for Team WestCan, wearing the more traditional goalie numeral of 31 in the 30s. And here's a 3-on-1 developing. McKay feeds it over for Chornley. Chornley tries to get it back. Levesque broke it up. Now out the other way, here comes Esposito. Esposito tries to split the defense down the middle. Esposito stops, fires the shot. Didn't get a lot on it, but at least did get a shot on target, and that was kicked out. Now ahead for O'Brien. It's barn burner hockey. McKay down the middle. Great job getting back and breaking that up. McNichol centering pass, but nobody home for Manitoba. Team WestCan fighting off that contact was Bluen, and she's frustrated because she had a player's glove on her that she felt might have been enough for a hold. The officials say no. And because of that, she, not wanting to turn the puck over at neutral ice, actually ends up moving the puck deeper as it's an icing called again, although you'd much rather have the puck in your own zone with all 5 of your players back, then turn it over at neutral ice, and all of a sudden it's a partial break or maybe a flat-out break in and of itself. Sobering tries to get it out. Toll keeps it alive. Sent ahead. And here comes Manila. Manila with Pepe to drop off to. Now stripped the other way. And it turned over. Firing a shot, glove save on a puck that was heading wide. Offering it up was Ava Rubinek, who has the only assist of the game. That coming back with a 6:26 mark of period number 1. Maddie McKay with the goal. It's the only one so far. Backhanded behind her own cage by Averill. Wilson skates onto it. Wilson floats it kind of in a no man's land, but thought that she could get back there and break it up in time. Matinko has other ideas. Dunbar now skates onto it. Goes from backhand, tries to pull it to forehand. And it takes a village, but Matenko and Dunbar are able to keep that alive into the slot and knifed away beautifully by O'Brien. O'Brien's going to get a lot of recognition offensively, but helped out defensively there. There's the shot and a goal. O'Brien will pick up the assist from the bench as she'd already made a change, but she was able to get that ahead. And Maddie McKay, similar goal to her first one. Time of the goal, 4 minutes and 36 seconds of period number 3. And the Manitoba All-Stars have elevated their lead. It is now a 2-0 score. Chornley fires a sharp angle shot. That hit off of a body and went below the goal line. They'll call it unassisted. It was O'Brien who got that ahead. So I'm sure that at some point that'll be changed, but McKay comes up with the insurance goal, and the way Team WestCan has been playing, that may come back to factor in, as there's a shot blocked by Pepe. Looking to get out of the zone was Brewer, or back into the zone rather. Pepe clean at the line. Has Chornley, fires a shot. That one screams in and out of the crease, doesn't stay there long. Manila comes across. Throws on that, hits off of the skate of Brewer. Now, had an opportunity to take a look through the rules online as this one goes out of play with 14:13 left, and I thought that goal differential might come into play, but here's why I don't think it will. I was thinking that if Manitoba All-Stars do defeat Team WestCan here, then you'd have a 3-way tie for second place and who takes on the Wade Warriors. Where that doesn't come in, though, is the first is head-to-head, and I was thinking, well, it's the A beats C, A beats B, B beats C, C beats A, but that's not the case here. Centering pass doesn't get through. The other team looking to try to make a bid here are the BC Capitals. As there's a rising shot up and off the mark. They end up with a record of 3-1, but they lost to Manitoba. and then won their other 3 games. So this is in essence for that spot in the championship tomorrow. And tie goes to the runner, or in this case, Team WestCan. So WestCan needs a tie here and nothing more. But a victory by Manitoba puts them in. There's a rising shot, leaves a rebound, and they poke at it. Both Pepe and Rubinek, and that shot well off the mark, clangs off the glass. The Wade Warriors await the winner of this one. Here's Lee on the backhand, can't get it to go. So I thought, as this one sent out front and handled nicely by Parker, that the BC Capitals were still in the mix with that 3-1 record, but that's not the case. It will be one of these teams taking on the Wade Warriors. Murphy steals that. Carves through and whistles one high and off the mark. Murphy. Down low, centering pass. Esposito feeds it over. Backhand effort, sprawling over. The netminder makes the stop with 11:43. And having seen the BC Capitals just prior to this, that's probably a fair, probably ends up being fair, because the BC Capitals obviously they occupy one spot. They play 4 other teams, but the 2 teams that they didn't play right now have a combined 7-0 record. There's sent out front. Fed to the point. Kicked away by Dunbar. And thrown up, not out, but Esposito does muscle it away. Chornley and O'Brien at the worst time blows a tire. That one is poked up and away from her. Wilson tracks it down on the backhand. Dangles through a couple of people and had to be careful there, as that could have been a disastrous turnover, but she makes the play work. McNichol helps to swing it around the bend. Pepe keeps it alive. Esposito now with a potential 2-on-1 in with Blue N. Esposito tries to find a lane to her, and I think that's the right decision. Just try to get that to the net, because the back checker had Blue N covered, and then even the player on her was really trying to break up the pass more than the shot. You hope there you can screen the netminder with that player that was there. Now here's McKay. McKay kicked out with the right pad. Held into the point, firing a shot. Netminder made the stop. Nobody not wearing black there with it to help clear that. Here's Pepe. Waits, fires, and with Rubinek awaiting, thought there might be a rebound. There wasn't. Pepe tries to pull that back. Stepping up and keeping that alive for the moment was Olivia Parker. Toll gives pressure. Rubinek, as that one bounces into the bench. 9:35 left to go in period number 3. Finishing that thought from earlier. Yes, the BC Capitals do move on with a 3-1 record. However, they will be in that 3rd place game. And I think that's fair, because at the end of the day, depending on how this game works out, they either went 3-1 but didn't face the top team and the 3rd best team, or the top 2 teams. So not all 3-1 records built the same. Meanwhile, there's a shot and a goal from top of the right circle. Depositing that into the back of the net was Peyton Chornley. That is her 2nd goal of the tournament. That is her 3rd point. Excuse me, I was way off on that. That is her 6th point of the tournament. It comes at the 10-minute, 46-second mark. And Chornley gives her squad even more insurance. It's 3-0. As that is offside. Meanwhile, having to carve their way through it is Team Manitoba. They'll call it unassisted. Down, and this will spin around Levesque. Meanwhile, the Manitoba All-Stars have had their work cut out from them. They did get the Illinois Selects, who finish as the 6th seed. But then, regardless of the outcome of this one, they'll have faced they'll finish as a top 4 team, and they'll face the other 3. So not counting themselves, because obviously they can't play themselves. Of the 6 teams that they could play, by the numbers, they had to play the top 3 and the 5th. It's about as good of a difficult a schedule as you could ask for. I guess the only thing that could have made it a little bit more tough would have been taking on Team Saskatchewan instead of the Illinois Selects. Here's Wilson. Wilson cuts and is bodied by Esposito. She's going to be called for a body check here with 7:44 left to go in period number 3. And now it's one of those where it stings, but when you know your squad's going on the man advantage, it stings a little bit less. And now an opportunity for Manitoba All-Stars to try to put a punctuation mark on this game, an exclamation mark, and try to put it all away. Warnick feeds it up high. Stancil, they play pitch and catch. Snapping a shot, blocker save made by the netminder. Obviously Manitoba would love to score here, but if they can just take 2 minutes out of the game that Team WestCan has remaining to try to even things up, they'll take that as a result. Handing off to Stancil is the netminder. They'll feed it over. Chornley with it. Chornley comes across the line, has Warnick right behind her. So I like the idea of a drop pass there, but they were kind of a little close to each other. It didn't really change that much. Blew in, unfortunately, at the end of a shift. Otherwise, she would have been off to the races, and she will exchange and instead give Abigail Lee the opportunity to pursue. 6:50 to go, 1:05 left to go on the man advantage, and Pepe will break things out for Manitoba. They gain the red line just inside the blue line and gulfed out by Brewer. Lee has that one chopped away from her. And now, in comes Rubinek. Rubinek on the forehand, waits, fires, tries to put home the rebound, still fighting for it. O'Brien will come away with it. 2/3 of the penalty has gone by the wayside. Esposito patiently waits in the box, hoping to get out to a 3-0 score still, or perhaps even see her team get on the board first, shorthanded. Waiting, sobering, feeds the point, and McKay, glove save made by the netminder. Douglas will hold on and keep her squad alive. 22 seconds left on the power play, 6:05 left to go in the 3rd. Fed back to the point. Right pad save, kicked out with authority by Douglas, who's been fantastic in this one. That is her 32nd save, and she's had some absolute beauties. Rubinek waits, fires a shot, blocker stopped by Douglas. Tracked down, was shaking her head, but I think that was just the helmet needing to be readjusted. We skate 5-on-5 as the power play has expired. Here comes Lee. Lee, toe drag, and tries to go short side and just misses. So Manitoba 0 for 2 in the man advantage. Team WestCan obviously hasn't scored on the power play, as they don't have a goal in this one, but they've had just one opportunity. Here's McKay. Carves wide right, stripped of it. Motts helps get it out to neutral ice. Brought right back in by Walker. McKay will head off for a change. Allen tracks it down, floats it ahead. Motts trying to get it out of the zone, can't. Here's O'Brien, over for Pepe. Pepe fires, and right idea, as the netminder was going right. You want her to go to her left and have her going the wrong way, but just pulled back too much. 4:28 left to go in the third. 3-0. This was a game that saw no goals in the second period, and not too long ago was a 1-0 affair. But thanks to a goal at the 4:36 mark, scored by Maddie McKay from Casey O'Brien, made it 2-0. And then at 10:46 of the period, it was Chornley. Again, they say unassisted, but I think there was an assist in there. I just unfortunately wasn't able to track that one down. Dancing and bobbing and weaving is Stansel. Gets her own rebound. And making sure that stayed wide was Sophia Contant. Popped up. Rubinek does a great job of applying pressure, keeping that alive in the zone. Trying to reach in there was Manila. Toll gets it out. That's the most important part. Stansel gets to it. Bluen pressures. Alix Bluen helps keep that in the zone, but Manila will come away with it for Manitoba. Great pass there over to space. Rubinek didn't have a clean path to Wilson, but knew if she just came all the way to the south end of the rink there at the red line, she'd be able to skate onto it. Big first step. Lee with a drive, as that one came away for Matenko. She fed it to Lee, and once again, Danica Averill coming up with a stop. 3:16 left to go in regulation. Have to say regulation as opposed to the game, because WestCan would be thrilled if they could somehow find a way to tie this up. Although now that I think about it, I'm thinking of a different division. I believe tie scores just remain, and a tie is what they need. That would advance them to the championship game. Here's Bednar. That's floated away from Pepe. Strong on the puck is Tegan Walker. She advances it westbound. The net that Team WestCan defends. Two-on-two as they gain the line. McKay waiting in the middle. O'Brien then tried to hit the trailer in Pepe. Broken up by the skate of Stansel. And they're through. Team WestCan with 2:05 left. That one hits off the side of the netting, and a couple of fans thought that had somehow found a lane through. Esposito gets physical out front, popping right back up is Stansel. No worse for the wear. 1:53 left to go. At this point, I believe it looks like if this stays a 3-goal game, Team WestCan is going to keep their netminder in. I would imagine if it got down to 2, that's when they would think about pulling their goaltender. Big drive from the point, and gobbled up by Averill. She gives no rebound. 104 seconds left, and a timeout will be taken by Team WestCan. I'll step away from the mic for just a moment. 3-0 Manitoba All-Stars lead Team WestCan, in the 2023 North American Female Elite Showcase right here on Youth Hockey Hub. .144 left to go in the third. Team WestCan in black trailing. They have an offensive zone face-off, and if they can get one here quick, they can make this interesting. Motts as Esposito finds her. Esposito with a wraparound attempt. Denied. O'Brien will try to clear. She collides in with Motts. Got a little piece of Motts, but then smartly let go, stopped holding on to that pressure, otherwise may have been called for a trip. This is kept in the zone by Allen the first time. It does squirt out to neutral ice. They'll reset and dump it in. Sobering actually leaves that for Wilson as it gets away from her. Touched by O'Brien and skated in by Rubinek. Final minute of play. Sobering breaks up that at neutral ice. Here's O'Brien. O'Brien comes in all alone, and she's just going to try to eat up some clock, and does. Lee comes away with it. Swiping at it was McKay. Parker gets involved as well. They'll get it out, 30 seconds left. Warnick goes to Pepe. Firing a shot, leaves a rebound, kicked out. And McKay had that kick off of her skate blade. They try to center it. Here's Parker. That's a smart play. Don't always have to get it on target. Leaves a rebound. And thrown at the net by Walker. 3 seconds left. And the Manitoba All-Stars are going to pick up the 3-0 shutout victory. Danica Averill makes 19 stops. At the other end, Emma Douglas with 35. Both goaltenders were fantastic. And with the 3-1-0 record, that puts Manitoba with 6 points in the bank, and they hold the tiebreaker over both the BC Selects and Team WestCan. So tomorrow it will be in the 5th place game, Team Saskatchewan and the Illinois Selects at 8:30 over on Rink 3. The 3rd place game is the late game tomorrow at 10:45 with this Team WestCan taking on BC Selects, and going for the championship. A rematch will be the Manitoba All-Stars taking on the Wade Warriors, who finish as the 1 seed with a perfect 4-0-0 record in pool play. Quickly, we will go over the scoring recap in the first period. It's all Manitoba All-Stars. At the 6:26 mark, goal was scored by Maddie McKay from Ava Rubinek. That ends up being the game winner. The insurance goal was also McKay from Casey O'Brien. And then that was at 4:36 of the 3rd period. And then a little bit of breathing room added as Peyton Chornley scored her 2nd of the tournament at the 10:46 mark, unassisted. We want to thank you for tuning in. We want to thank our camera operator, engineer, and producer, Tom Ritchie. My name's Eric Zamora. And one final time, a final score here from Rink 5. It was Team Manitoba by a score of 3-0 over Team WestCan, and it left both teams with a 3-1 record, and Manitoba All-Stars moving on to the championship tomorrow morning. Thanks for tuning in to this production of the 2023 North American Female Elite Showcase right here on Youth Hockey Hub. Have a fantastic evening.